Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namasami. Anyo me akapo karanioti papatitena abhinhang pachavekitapang. I should strive to abandon my former habits. So one of our daily recollections, either literally done in the community when we chant it, but certainly something one should follow through on. Like this is to be done repeatedly. These are subjects for recollection. You take a little one like that, it's not very long, turn it over, take it in. What's it mean? Where can that be done? Where can old habits, some can be fairly easily put away, one gives up drinking, smoking, whatever. Worrying, difficult. Craving, difficult. Self-criticism, very difficult. Feeling confused, getting obsessive about something or the other, getting stuck into something, getting obsessive about it, difficult, kind of habitual obsessions. That actually, the nature of them is to establish a kind of an identity that becomes me. One is in the grip of these experiences and driven along by them, acting upon them. Or either acting upon in terms of the heart, one thinks, one keeps regurgitating it, speaking, one speaks it out, one talks about it, one thinks it out, physically one acts upon it. Generally we can restrain the action, but very difficult to actually stop these obsessions percolating up into the heart and mind. In that way, an obsessive experience becomes a sense of a me. It's an object. This is happening to me, and then when we act upon it, I. So me is the perception. I'm in this muddled, confused, upset, disappointed, frustrated state. It's happening to me. I am frustrated. Me, and then I do something. I act upon it. It's sankhara. I lose my temper. I distract myself gorging on food or sweets or something, to try and comfort myself. So then these kind of habitual either distractions or gratifications or you kind of get into kind of spreading around one's obsessive thoughts to everybody else, and grumbling and grievances. It's kind of difficult stuff, and certainly, sympathy for that. I'm sure this is not unusual. This is the purification, mentioning purification of citta being one summary of the Buddha's teaching, cleaning out these obsessive fears, worries, depressions, guilts, agitations. Reminding us of this habitual churning over. Samsara is really just this churning of perception and feeling, and then the activations, the mental currents of activations. This really is the kernel of what we mean by samsara. It just goes on and on. And you can hear people sometimes saying the same old thing, 20 years, still got the same old stuff. Still going round and round in it, you know. And we can make it, so it becomes an identity. Wherever is intimate, repeated, becomes an identity. Wherever is repeated, intimate, and has a captivating quality, becomes an identity. The citta is stuck in that identity. So it helps us to really differentiate between this issue around anatta, not self, and citta. Definitely there is citta, some sense of a subjective, felt, experiencing quality that it's there for all of us. And it's struggling within this kind of shrouds of grasping and craving and confusion. And this identity starts to form around it, like a sheath, or a coat, or a case. Once encased in this, it becomes that me in that bag of that, and there's afflictive memories and obsessive habits. Not easy to shake off. But the citta seeks its health just like a body. You don't have to tell the body to be healthy, it naturally seeks it. And it fights against disease and illness until it can fight no longer. And it keeps going. So citta is rather like that. You don't have to tell it to get better, it will. But we have to take the proper nourishment and medicines to restore it to its health. This is why the Dhamma is called the Osatang Uttamang Parang. Osatang, supreme medicine. Highest, supreme medicine. It's the medicine that heals, purifies, brings the citta back to its clarity. And then when the citta is clear, it doesn't need an identity. Well, you have to keep saying who you are, and what you're going to be, and where you're going, where you were. What do you do that for? What's the point? Then you'd have an image to look at. Why bother? Just be the goodness, be the intelligence, be the sensitivity. Don't need to have an identity wrapped around it. Well, when the citta is clouded in ignorance, it forms identity out of ignorance. It's something to hold on to. So in this respect, we're looking at the allies, the indriya, support faculties, our allies, our saddha, virya, sati, samadhi, panya, faith, aspiration, devotion, confidence, trust. Energy, the wish and to apply one's heart to what one is doing. To really apply. Feel that sense of potential that faith gives us, and then, yes, I want to apply this. Looking at effort is how you specifically apply that to anything that you do or think or say. Even small things, carefully saying, carefully doing things. Effort is that it can be a very sensitive placing to what one is doing, fully there, because that's what supports sati, mindfulness. So the factor of effort is not to be heroic, although it is a kind of heroism sometimes when one is having difficulties, just to keep applying oneself to just, sweep the floor carefully, wash the bowl carefully, refrain from loose speech carefully. That's effort. It's a continuum, not as some one-off heroic adhitthana, but as a continuum. The effort to just contain loose, frivolous gossip. Don't need to say that. Holding it back. Resolving the emotion that lies underneath our thoughts and speech. This is why we do restrain. So we can examine more clearly where our thoughts and speech are coming from. Maybe, they're just looseness, lack of real focus, or sometimes grudges and grievances spill out. Okay, let's look at those. The right effort properly is there to establish sati, mindfulness. And we're mindful of that which we need to be mindful of. Right, so nice saying, isn't it? So so rather just kind of systematizing mindfulness into a few postures, which I'm certainly, yes, I do the postures and they're welcome, but just containing that sati as an ongoing ability to just keep on track with what's spilling out from the citta and what's coming into the citta. What's coming in? Do you need to take that in? No, don't then. What's spilling out? Do you need to bring that out? Yes, I do. Okay, then proceed carefully. So it's just that guardian, sati. It means it establishes a focus and it listens carefully to what's within the focus. Our speech, our thoughts, our moods, our emotions. And takes it deeply. How is this stirring me? And probably a lot of the self is just the way I am. I just came out of, where did it come from? Well, I just flew out. From where? Where did it come from? Where? This is where mindfulness of body is considered invaluable, because the subtlety of the process is the recognition that these impulses, reflexes, what is called the world, arises in the body. And wherever, you could say your nervous system, or a state of tension, or a state of agitation that can be sensed in the body. And if that is quelled in the body, understood and quelled in the body, calm, steadied, penetrated, then the tensions and the confusions can be dispelled. And sati, it acts as the balance of the other indriya. I say sattva, saddha, faith, is to be balanced with wisdom. You're clear about what you place your trust in. Don't be naive. Saying when you hear a teacher teaching, you listen carefully. How does that make sense? You weigh it up. You might say, does this person's actions, are they in line with what they're saying? You contemplate their actions. It seems pretty sound. You know. And generally I trust the actions more than the words, frankly. I think the first really wise person I met was Luang Por Sucitto, Ajahn Sumedho. I can't remember a single thing he said, but I do very clearly get a sense of steadiness, openness, calm, composure, warm-heartedness, coming from just sitting. You could feel it. What's that? And a luminous quality to it. This Venerable One is purified in body, or at least there is purification, maybe it hasn't completed, but there's purification in terms of the person not twisted up, contorted, jumpy, jittery, pushy, forceful. You can detect these energies and something just steady and really inclining towards my welfare, listening, encouraging, without hectoring, not kind of saying a lot of do this, don't do that, just listening carefully, and a sense of something non-verbal, like a presence. This is faith arises. And the body, something in the body is steady and composed. You place your faith in that. Not even in the identity, but in the whatever he's done to arrive in that. And whatever he can say to give me guidance and to arrive at that, I'm going to give it some good attention. So your faith then is wisely sensed and it's wisely placed. Faith and wisdom balance each other. You've just got too many ideas and not enough openness to look at new things anew, which is faith. Faith arises, is the quality of faith that opens us up. We just kind of get stuck or hold on to a particular set of standards or ideas. Lots of good ideas, but actually, we're too smart. Too smart for our own good. You want to keep open. And then energy has to be balanced with samadhi, collectedness, composure, so we're not just frantic, acting all the time, but also composure has to be balanced with energy, so you don't just stagnate or space out or go kind of, it's what they call stump samadhi, just kind of numbed out. You keep the quality of inquiry going on in the collected state. How is this? How is this feeling? Vitaka vichara, in the process of jhana. And wisdom and mindfulness is always relevant because it's giving us constantly a kind of a survey of what's happening. The function of mindfulness is to repeat, to replace, to establish again. You cultivate, you establish recollections, and then you begin to take the feeling of them, the upright, the bright, the letting go. You're taking it deep into your reflexes. And these occur in the body. So reading today, this is Sutta 53 in this Indriya Samhita. I'll select sections of it. Here, bhikkhu is a bhikkhu who is a trainee, understands as it really is. This is suffering. He understands as it really is. This is the origin of suffering. He understands as it really is. This is the cessation of suffering. He understands as it really is. This is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. This is a method by means of which a bhikkhu who is a trainee, standing on the plane of a trainee, understands I'm a trainee. So they've got the wisdom there. Again, bhikkhu who is a trainee understands the 5 spiritual faculties, the faculty of faith, the faculty of energy, the faculty of mindfulness, the faculty of concentration, the faculty of wisdom. He does not yet dwell having contacted with the body, their destination, their culmination, their fruit, their final goal. But having pierced it through with wisdom, he sees. This too is a method by means of which a bhikkhu who is a trainee, standing on the plane of a trainee, understands I'm a trainee. And what bhikkhus is the method by means of which a bhikkhu who is a one beyond training, standing on the plane of one beyond training, understands I am one beyond training. Here, bhikkhu who is one beyond training understands the 5 spiritual faculties, the faculty of faith, the faculty of energy, the faculty of mindfulness, the faculty of concentration, the faculty of wisdom. He dwells having contacted with the body, their destination, their culmination, their fruit, their final goal, and having pierced it through with wisdom, he sees. This is a method by means of which a bhikkhu who is one beyond training, standing on the plane of one beyond training, understands I am one beyond training. So we see this seemingly just to be a trainee is a great honour and a great advantage when you're on the right track. Saying the culmination is expressed in this way as it has to be touched, felt, contacted in the body. So by this I would say that we have to get our wisdom and our penetrations to go beneath the head, and even right into the basis of how we're a nervous system, you could say. Although I think it's a little bit subtler than that. Your reflexes, the things that jump up, that subtly through practice don't jump up. The hindrance of anger does not jump up. We may feel a sense of irritation, but the reflex to lash out does not jump up. We may acknowledge life is uncertain, that any day we could pass away. Still, the quality of insecurity and anxiety does not jump up. We're serene in that. Something in the very deep has been removed, deep reflexes. This is purification in the body, purification of perceptions, purification of sankhara. What is purified? What does it mean? The sense of I am has been cleaned out. Then there isn't that reflex of, oh no, what can I do? Oh no. It's not fair, why should I? That reflex has been cleaned out. And recognizing how deeply embedded these reflexes are. So of course in our normal understanding of a body, which we associate with what we can see with our eyes, or what the doctor can examine, physical structures and so forth, how does the quality of faith get into that? Faith can seem such a nebulous idea in one's head, or mood in one's heart. How on earth does it get into a body? Well, I say, well, we have to re-establish what we mean, what the Buddha means, what I suggest the Buddha means anyway, when it says the world arises in the body. We're talking about a whole, like a form of intelligence, which has reactions, a reaction of fear, a reaction of rage, a reaction of insecurity. It's kind of embedded. Panic. Lust rushes up. They're not self, but they're these qualities. So through that, that is not a physical, it obviously affects the physical structure, but it doesn't arise in physical structure. It arrives in terms of the body's wiring, you could say, or fundamental intelligence, or sensitivity, or programming, called kaya sankhara, bodily energy. Bodily energy formation, or called the bodily formation. It shapes us, shapes our felt body. So time and time again we return to, a kind of fundamental entry to mindfulness of body, meditation, so we could say opening up the listening faculty, receptive, and relaxing the face, the muscles that you don't need, so your body is quiet and light, and supporting it with a firm back, lower back, relaxing the face, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the fingers, so it's soft and yet held strongly through the back. How do I know I have a body? What is this body? And come into something that has felt presence. It's got a certain firmness to it, flexibility, warmth, what I call elemental properties. Firmness, earth, warmth, fire. This moving, breathing air, fluidities of the body, water. No self in there, nobody in there, elements playing. And you find, sensing that, how does this become settled and stable and open, ready to receive the teachings? Now we're dealing with something that's not exactly physical, although these are signs and signals that come associated with the experience of body, the felt direct bodily experience of the body. Very crucial. If you don't find it, if you can't feel the earth element, you feel very insecure. There's no air, you feel frozen, locked. But actually in the body there are these primary senses, a sense that everything's okay. And with practice to stabilize and fulfill those, so they're throughout the whole body you sense these qualities. Even simpler, just breathing, the supreme medicine for the body, for food. We can go without food, physical food, for many days. Without water, a few days. Without breath, a couple of minutes. So, this is the supreme food. And it also permeates the entire bodily system with its energy. And this is the understanding of prana in the Asian, Chinese and Buddhist traditions. Pranayama, prana, life force energy as it's flowing through the breathing. We contact that. And getting the attention to track it, to stay with it without predicting it, habituating it, planning it, organizing it, trying to make it work, the ways that mind will interfere with something that's doing perfectly well on its own. But we see where does the quality that helps that to be more fulfilled, more complete. Now, faith is this can be furthered. It can be beautiful. It is the primary means of which the Buddha had his realization. Faith. You can trust the Buddha. Energy. Just keep applying yourself to the details carefully, sensitive, without cramping it. The fullness of the out-breath, the fullness of the in-breath. Be discerning, be wise. Where does it feel most comfortable and assured? Can you dwell on that, linger on that, place your mindfulness there, drink it in, letting that tone, that quality spread and grow. Mindful, and repeats it time and time again. And so that the body becomes purified of dullness, restlessness. No, this is itself, the purification of body is a process of many years. Because of old habits, whereby a lot of time we're living up in a virtual world of our heads and ideas. I think perhaps in the time of the Buddha it was easier. They didn't have a lot of conceptual stuff going on. Signs and signals, traffic lights, books, telephones, clocks. It was all pretty much earthy, grounded stuff. So perhaps easier to shift from the conceptual. And ours takes practice and trust and faith and application and mindfulness and wisdom. Noticing that citta will gradually pick it up, take it in. Good. And he said this is one of the ways in which citta finds it can counteract obsessive thought, obsessive emotion, obsessive reactivity, obsessive patterns, which can be extremely tenacious. Sometimes not even verbal, just a sense of strange fear or insecurity or tension going on. So then we, to fortify the citta with that balm, that medicine, that food, sustain it. And obsessive thought, obsessive emotion comes in, you start to just place that in that stream. Keep disrupting it, disrupting the thought, disrupting the emotion. And then saturating the body. So tension in the shoulders, tension in the abdomen, restrictions in the throat. Needing to permeate those areas of the body. So some of this deeply ingrained habits, programs get melted. And one must be patient with that. This is a faculty of mindfulness. But even at that point where we begin to recognize this obsessive program, not only am I not acting upon it, but also I sense it's not really me. It's something happening to me. Here comes the worry demon. Here comes the righteousness demon. Here comes the lashing out program. Oh, there it is. There she is. There he is. Okay. It's not me. Because with mindfulness you get that sense of just being able to, using a body, you can lever your attention away from the engagement with those perceptions and moods. And say, look, just here's a leg. Could you breathe out down your legs? Could you stand and breathe out down into your feet? Could you hold your back and clearly breathe out down your back? Because energy flows everywhere. Then you feel that kind of obsessive thought comes up and it tries to grab hold and you say, no, I'm not having it. No, I'm not rejecting it, but I'm not adopting it. I'm not having it. You get that guardian. Mindfulness is the guardian. And then once we refrain from engagement, then the me, I am, doesn't have to get activated. This already is a profound liberation, where at least one's behavior and actions will not be captured by these forces. With mindfulness of breathing on a real living process, not just these phantoms and stuff that just comes out of nowhere and just crashes into one's attention. A real living, healthy process. You begin to purify perception. As what we discern as breathing is not really a single thing. It's a continually sparkling, bubbling, shifting quality. Sometimes bright, sometimes soft, sometimes spacious, sometimes vivid, sometimes fine, thin. In fact, you can barely give it a single label. But what you know is it's constant change, constant change. This is the purification of perception, because perception is constant change. And we have a healthy perception, such as we recollect, which are to be cultivated, we recollect with gratitude, with things that inspire us. It has to be actually done, because mostly, people don't do it. In fact, but obsessive thinking takes over. So you have to make an effort to deliberately turn away from obsessive thinking, obsessive patterning, and to deliberately bring up a perception that's supportive. And it's changing. We have agreeable memories, but memories are really very ephemeral. And the ones that are beautiful are like a beautiful blessing that passes through. Oh, lovely. That was a beautiful thing she did. That was lovely what she said. Really inspired. And it goes through like a breeze, and you feel cleaned, refreshed. It's done its work. You feel cleaned and refreshed. Or comforted. He listened to me. He just listened carefully. I really appreciate that. A lovely perception brushes through like a breeze and cleans and steadies, and it's gone. That's perception when it's clear. When it gets stuck, she's like this, he never does that, he's always like this, they always do that, and here we go again. You get stuck perception, which is like obviously diseased, because it's stuck. So and we easily go to the ones that are stuck, because they stare you in the face, so you've got to deliberately go to the ones that are not stuck, and then you get something This is a true quality because the perception is impermanent, changeable. And when we contemplate breathing, you're not trying to have the breath as a fixed thing, but stay in touch with a flow. And citta begins to tune in to not just the breath itself, but to the property of impermanence. Not as, oh, everything's going to pass away, but how beautiful this kind of light, evanescent quality is actually very refreshing, cleaning. It does its work. It cleans, and we don't actually want to hang on to it, but it just cleans the citta. The citta feels refreshed by it. And then we begin to learn that. And breathing is not just about breathing, it's about really understanding and valuing perceptions that are beautiful and cleansing and nourishing. So we can learn this by being with our breathing process and extending it through the whole of our felt body. Also, volition is purified. If we go into mindfulness of breathing, a whole lot of ideas of what we're going to get, and what we're going to become, and how we're going to get this, and we're going to get concentrated. Now, you've already written the story, you're not open. So you put aside the projects of how you're going to get there, how long for, when you're going to get to jhana, and so forth. Just going to stay open. So the volitional quality, the do-it quality, is also purified in the sense of I am, which always has the ideas and the plans and the future in it, where we're going to get to. Look, things are going to work their own way out. We don't need to have a plan. You need to have sati. And then things will, move in their own way. And so the volition then is just to stay attentive, receptive. That does require a certain, it's not clear application to be just that, to be not full on in that gripping way, but full on like an attendant who waits and listens. Not someone who's a master changing things, but an attendant who waits and listens. And it's just understanding this and beginning to cultivate that is immensely helpful. We begin to cultivate volition like that, it really stands us in stead, particularly in contemplative life. A lot of it is just attending, waiting, listening. Where do we go now? Okay. And be prepared to just abide in silence, waiting, listening, attending to that, without a lot of nudging and pushing. It keeps things calm and steady. So in this way, calming and steadying concentration arrives because of that purification. And with this we begin to penetrate the sense of I am, which is always based upon a past and future. Past is all the things I think I am and should be and wish I wasn't. And the future is the things I want to be and going to be and have to be and when I'm going to get there. And this is confused perception and confused intention. And it brings in the sense of linear time. I am, I was, I will be, therefore I am. Now, if we begin to relinquish or work with the past, so the past isn't sitting on our back, we begin to work with a sense of the future, so we're not lusting and aiming for a future. This is called breaking the current of bhava, becoming. You don't need a future. Things are going to happen. If it's past, it wouldn't be here, would it? So we clean off the past and we clean out the future. In this way, the sense of the strand of becoming, bhava, the origin of birth, can be weakened and severed. Who is going to become anything? Doesn't make sense. We're open, steady, balanced. As it is said in the Samyutta, they do not hanker after the future, they do not linger in the past, they abide on what arises, therefore they are radiant. So then with this process of entering the body in order to find a leverage from these powerful currents that affect the citta. It's where these faculties find their fulfillment. We get the results, we touch the steadiness, the composure, the radiance, the happiness in the body. Not as a physical element, but as something that's a background support for our thoughts, ideas, a place we can return to for refreshment. So when life ends, we have a place to go rather than keep wandering on in samsara. This is where the Buddha ended his life, in those states. So now it's time for direct practice. And what more is there to say? Anyone?